boys and girls, pets of all ages. Welcome to Purdy Amazing People, live from beautiful Southern California with our host, award-winning blues artist, radio co-host, and girl about town, Brigitte Purdy. Today, Brigitte welcomes Bob Corrtore. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Brigitte Purdy.
To be with you here today. It is I have a fabulous guest tonight, and it is the Bob Corrtore, amazing harp player, award-winning. He is a legendary. He's also the owner of the Rhythm Room in Phoenix, which I've had the opportunity to play, and it's an amazing traditional venue in Arizona. If you guys are driving by, you gotta pop in and say hi to Bob. He's usually there, and he has a slew of amazing artists that play there. Walter Trout, Sugar Ray Rayford. I've played there, and it's one of the most amazing venues to drop on by and say, hey, let's see. Bob is also has his own radio show, and he's the host of KJZZ. And we sat down with Bob, and he had so many things to share with us. Just historically, the man group in Chicago, which I didn't know. I don't want to give too much away. And but anyways, I also want to say hey to Sean out there. Sean Adams Williams, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. It's so great to see everybody. So without further ado, let's introduce Bob. That we have covered the three people. Thank you. And I see your posters back there. What you got going on? I'm looking at your wall.
Well, these are some posters from early in my life. So the first time I ever went to Delmark Records and met Bob Kester, I was still in high school. We took like the elevated over to. We went to the actual Delmark office was a smaller version of the record store, and there's Bob Kester, and we're just amazed by all the posters. They had all these fantastic concert posters of like Hound Dog Taylor and Robert Lockwood in Japan and all these things. And as a young budding blues artist, I was just like wide-eyed, going, "Oh,
of course."
And so we're asking little questions to Bob Kester, who's kind of half acting like he's somewhat inconvenienced by our questions, but at the same time loving answering them. That was just Bob's way, and so anyway, Bob's wife Susan Kester cut through it all and says, "Would you like this?" And they handed me this BB King and Albert King poster, and that was a gift from them when I was still in high school, so that was pretty cool.
Shake your money maker, baby, you read all right. Roll your money maker, yeah. I ain't got a woman, she lives up on the hill. Well, the woman I love, she lives up on the hill. Well, the fool trying to quit me, man, but I love her still. She rolls her money maker, baby, she's ready to shake it. Choking her money maker, baby, you read all right. Roll your money maker.
The one over here in the blue, that's Otis Rush, his first Texas tour. You've probably seen that in the back of some album covers. That was something that Jump Jackson had in his garage. It was actually a tour that never happened for Otis Rush in the 1950s, but the posters remained, a stack of them in the garage. Jim O'Neill got a hold of them and sold them, through his little retail service, and I bought a couple of those at the time. And now of course it's a rare collector's item, but it's a cool thing. Then let's see if you can see it. Let's see how to get there. You got the Howlin' Wolf and Mighty Joe Young over at Eddie's place. I used to go see the Howlin' Wolf at Eddie Shaw's place, which was the 1815 club at 1815 West Roosevelt in Chicago. And I got to see the Wolf play there a bunch of times. And then when Wolf passed away, everybody went there to pay tribute to him. And Chico Chisholm was his last drummer, who I had met, when he was playing with Wolf. And I asked Chico if he could get me one of those posters. And so he went in the back and got me one of those posters. I gave him a little tip, But so that's another part of my happiest. Now the last poster.
Little bit. Hey. I don't want much. I just want a little bit. No, I don't want it all, baby. Just want a little bit. Itty weeny bit of yours. Turn your light down low and try to sneak a little kiss. Turn your light down low, baby.
Which you can barely see.
Yeah.
That's from a guy named Middle Walter. And now there's a Big Walter and a Little Walter. Few people have heard of this guy, Middle Walter, but he was a really fine harmonica player based in Gary, Indiana. And Johnny Littlejohn had given him the name Middle Walter. So he's kind of like this obscure little, footnote in all of this. You got Big Walter and Little Walter. And then, of course, there's Middle Walter. So, it's kind of almost like blues humor, other than the fact that this guy was really an amazing harmonica player. He only made a few recordings, and that only as a sideman, playing harmonica on sides with Big Daddy Simpson and Melvin Simpson for the MPAC record label, and great stuff. So anyway, those are my 4 posters there. So I've got other posters in other parts of the room. So
are you from Chicago?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was born in Chicago, and then right before I turned 25, I moved to Phoenix for what I thought would only be a year. But in that period of time, from the moment I was 18 till 25, you couldn't keep me away from the blues clubs. And even in high school, I was out seeing blues all the time. Muddy Waters played my high school gymnasium. So my very first show was at a school auditorium, was the Sam Lay Blues Revival, and it had Eddie Taylor and Lucille Spann and Wild Child Butler. Years later, I would work a lot with Sam Lay, which was very gratifying considering that was my very first show. So we got Sam and I, I've worked a lot over the years, and I just love that man. So but it's just kind of ironic how all that works. But you could see, Hound Dog Taylor over at Northwestern University. You could see, even as a person who couldn't get into the clubs in high school, you could still see Otis Rush over Barrett College, and this show over here, that show over here. And, Blanchard Brewer played the pizza joint down the street every Tuesday, and you go there and he'd play all sorts of blues for you. It was, some cool stuff to grow. And, they had great blues radio. I remember Mark Gretchen on the Northwestern station, and he was, playing Best in Blues, and so I'd stay home on Saturday nights just to hear that radio show. It was amazing. So
Aren't you lucky that you grew up in that hub? I was sneaking in to go see Albert King at the Coach House and Buddy Guy at the Coach House, when I was a kid. But you're really lucky because, they would come out to California here and there, but you really grew up in that hub. And so, we definitely can hear it in you, your music, and your passion and your love for the genre. I mean, how lucky are you?
I feel very lucky, especially since, when I heard Muddy Waters, I was very young, and I fell in love with blues through that experience. And then, I heard Little Walter. And so I'm able to go and hear, Muddy and Little Walter's sidemen. Little Walter had passed away, but all of these things were just so accessible to me. Could go see Sunnyland Slim and Eddie Taylor and Magic Slim and the Teardrops and the Aces and all these fantastic bands and music were just right at the fingertips of anybody who wanted to go see them. So
and I could see how your vision for the Rhythm Room and your club, to have authentic blues and your passion in that. I could see how it all ties together.
yeah. Another interesting story, Bridget, is that when I first moved out to Phoenix, I was just thinking I was going to live here for a year and go back to Chicago because I was trying to figure out life in general. Being a bluesman working in South and West Side clubs was not going to be a living, and it was not exactly a safe or comfortable situation. But at the same time, you got to play some real music with real cats. It was very powerful. But I had to kind of get away from it to get some perspective. So my brother invited me out to come to Phoenix. I came to Phoenix, and lo and behold, within a couple months, I get a call from Louisiana Red, who I played with over at the Delta Fish Market, and he asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I'm in Phoenix now. He says, I know a woman out there. I think I want to go out to Phoenix. He goes, well, if you do, we can get some gigs, when you're into town. So I didn't really make anything of it. I didn't take it too seriously. And a few weeks later, Red shows up in town and calls me up and says, Bobby, I'm here. So next thing you know, here's Louisiana Red. And a week later, he gets thrown out of his girlfriend's house. So I had a new roommate, So my brother and myself and my girlfriend at the time, we all became like a little family unit, and we all, made sure everybody got through okay. But, Red stayed with me for a year, went off on a tour of Germany, and then met his wife over there, Dora. Champion Jack Dupree was the matchmaker of that union. So anyway, pretty cool though. So, but for that year, all of a sudden I had this, heavy Chicago blues right in my living room. It's just, it's like, how did that happen? So, and then, years later, Chico Chisholm, who was Howlin' Wolf's last drummer, would move out to Phoenix in 2006, and spent the last 20 years of his life. So Dave Riley from Chicago has moved out here. Jimmy Primetime Smith now lives here in Phoenix, and Carl Weathersby just moved to Phoenix. So we've got a lot of Chicago right here. People who have experienced the Chicago winters, they want to come out to Phoenix and enjoy these wonderful winters that we have here. So
yeah, I know I do. I'm not too far away from you. I've driven out. I've driven out to your club, played your club. I know I do, because I know I'm going to get, the real deal, authentic things. And it shows in your venue. Definitely.
We do what we can. There's not a lot of the old guys left anymore, but there's some young guys that really are keeping it moving. So,
Yeah. I talked to another blues artist, and we had a great discussion of course, we're always saying, how are we going to pass the baton, and how are we going to keep this beautiful genre that we all love so much alive? That's always a question.
Well, it has to be embraced by a younger generation, and some people in the younger generation are. What is powerful about these young players is they're really into it. But what I'm not seeing is that the younger players are bringing a younger audience. And I think that's the next step of this. How do we get a younger audience to embrace blues, and make it feel like it's their own? And, the generational thing could get in the way of that, So if a bunch of kids want to get together and party to the blues, they don't want to party with their grandparents, So that's a problem a little bit, So how do you repackage this music where there's like a separate group of people that love it, maybe through a young version of somebody playing it, it will be, reactivated. So
yeah, that's definitely, we were all struck by the blues at a young age. It started with me with my father, and then I played with more a rock version of the blues with Tim Bogart from Cactus and Jeff Beck, and so that's kind of what drew me into the genre. And then seeing people live, so it's almost like if we could get young people into our venues and things, then they possibly could be struck by the blues too. You know what I mean? Because once it grabs a hold of you, it's like it finds you. We don't find it. It just happens and it doesn't let go.
Yeah, it's back in the day, 18 and 19 would get into the bars. Now it's pretty much 21 all across the country. But I think those 2 or 3 years are really important, because if somebody can kind of get in and get a taste of it at that formative time, where just the fact that everything is so age secluded, it's kind of a shame, it's just, how do the young people go to see that? How do they do that unless it's an event that's especially geared towards them? And there's that too. There's blues in schools. There's all sorts of things like that. Of course, we got to mention the Pine Top Perkins Foundation, which has done amazing work, and of course Generation Blues that the Blues Foundation has done, and some of the great teachers of the blues that some million harmonica teachers and blues teachers in general that teach classes and have done great service to the music by teaching people. Sometimes I'd run into I remember playing a gig in Wisconsin, and there's a woman there that had gone to one of Billy Branch's Blues in the Schools thing and had been so touched by that her passion for the music was a life direction for her from that point forward. So that's pretty cool when you see that happening. So
maybe we should have, like, instead of bring your child to school, we should have the grandparent bring your grandchild to the blues.
That would be great. Yeah, but it would have to be in a.
I'm just throwing it out there. It out there.
Yeah, it'd be nice if there were like a school curriculum that really advanced, because all the cultures that we have here in the United States, all the blues cultures and the country western cultures and all of the different cultures really should be presented, as the whole stream of music and its growth, and so people can understand what they're listening to now and where it came from, and how all these roots affect what would come out later. You got the roots and then you got the fruits.
You got the roots and the fruits. That's a great idea. I'm going to be working at an elementary school and doing a class on music production, using the Pro Tools and everything, and songwriting. How to songwrite, just like in classes, you can write a literature paper, and you have, the beginning, the middle, the end, those sort of things. So teaching songwriting, teaching production, and of course, it's going to have to be a lot of blues history, because that's really the foundation of all music. So I'm excited and looking forward to that, and I am developing curriculum based upon those things. So it's another new little venture for me.
Right on. If we were in the same town, I would go to your class and learn a few things.
Aww. But you'd have to call me Miss Purdy.
I would do that. Yes, I'd be happy, Miss Purdy. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, Bob. I appreciate your time today. You're so knowledgeable. And, to say you're the real deal is such an understatement. And the history that and your willingness to give and share, I just honor that in your spirit and who you are. And I just say thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I hope I can live up to the words you just gave. So
You did.
I live in the humbleness of trying to serve the memories of the people that influenced me. So there's so that, I mean, they were so great, and I'm just if I can carry on a little bit of that through the lessons that I was taught, that would mean the world to me. So that's what I aim to do, and if you say I'm succeeding, I'm happy. So anyway,
you are you definitely are. You definitely are. Well, thank you, and enjoy your day.
Well, thank you so much. It's my honor and pleasure to be here, and I hope I gave you some stuff you can use here. So,
absolutely.
All right.
What does the rest of your day look like?
feet don't feel well, I feel so good. Man, I feel so good. You know, I feel so good. Feel like ball and jack. I'm down to the station just to meet a train. My baby coming home, and you know I got dead aim, 'cause I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. Feel like ball and jack. To meet a train to see my baby. You know I got dead aim. You know I feel so good. Man, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. I feel like ball and jack. So good, you know, on way wheel. I feel like a jack out with a Jenny. Well, behind her heel, I feel so good. Yes, I feel so good. You know, I feel so good. Feel like ball and jack. I feel so good. You know, I always will. When I get high, I be floating around in the wind. You know, I feel so good. Man, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. I feel just like ball and jack. I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. You know, I feel so good. Man, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. I feel like ball and jack.